Hey TRB fans, this episode is presented by Star Wars Card Trader by Topps digital collectibles app. Collect and trade digital collectibles, including new weekly exclusive Mandalorian episodic content. Download the app and relive the entire Star Wars saga, from 1977's A New Hope to Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, on your quest to collect your favorite heroes, villains, weapons, spacecraft, and more. The Topps app brings your Star Wars collection to life with a fun thematic user experience, in-app features like Workbench, a collectible trade-in function, ability to trade 24/7, set wish and trade lists so others can know which collectibles are on your radar, and a set completion tracker to monitor all your progress. To celebrate Episode 9's premiere later this month, the app recently launched a brand new Kylo Ren-inspired set, aptly titled, I'll Show You the Dark Side, which includes amazing types of never-before-seen collectibles. Star Wars Card Trader by Topps is available worldwide for free download and can be found in both the iTunes App Store or Google Play Store.
Welcome back to the Resistance Broadcast, everybody. I'm John. How are you? Thanks so much for joining us today. We have a great show. Why? Because it is time to throw speculation, theories, wishes, and hopes out of the window, because we are 1 week away from the Rise of Skywalker hitting theaters, and we're going to take our last shot at predicting what we think is going to happen in the movie. Joining me, as always, is James and Lacey. 1 week away from the biggest moment in the history of this podcast. James Baney hitting me and Lacey in the face with pies.
Softly, with pies.
You ready?
Lacey is so nervous about that.
I am.
Like,
I've
what
seen
do you think? I'm gonna
videos
punch
on the
you?
I think she thinks you're going to hit her with like a frozen Mrs. Smith's apple pie or something.
Yeah, every time this gets brought up, I'd make no joke about hitting her really hard.
But she's like, you can't bloody my nose.
Okay, I don't say it that aggressively. I ask nicely. Please don't do that.
Well, James is the violent one on the podcast. We all know this. No, James, have you picked your type of pie yet? Are you ready? Are you mentally prepared? Have you physically been practicing the art of smashing pies? Do you have a mannequin set up where you're hitting them in the face? What's going on there?
All of the
above.
Excellent. I know people out there.
Sorry, I selected the wrong.
None of the above.
None. Okay. Well, I know this has been going on for over a year now, so people are probably finally like, get it on already.
Literally,
let's go.
Yeah.
And the same thing that we're going to do with this podcast now, because we have, it's back, baby. Will the Force back, baby? And we have James Baney here to shepherd us through that. And later on, though, stick around because we have a Patreon pod race. Neil Lowry is going to join us there. And we're going to give our final predictions in our discussion, just open discussion, what we think is happening in Episode 9. But right now, Will the Force, James, where's our buddy Chirrut?
I fear nothing, for all this, as the Force wills it.
Ooh, how many questions we got this week?
Guys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're back to normal.
Do the whole 5, every other one is a patron question.
So let's do this, guys. Will of the Force this week
starts with, will the Hutts appear in the Obi-Wan
Kenobi series? Lacey, that is a question you're going to answer first.
Yes, they will. I don't think you can have a show that happens on Tatooine without the Hutts there.
The Hutts. John?
Do you think the Hutts are coming back for the Obi-Wan series?
No.
What?
But John, you can't have
A show on Tatooine without the Hutts.
I know, but I think
How dare you?
I think they want to go back to puppet style Hutts, and I don't think 6 episodes they're going to want to involve a production of that scale, bringing puppets back for an Obi-Wan series. You need to tell Obi-Wan's story. Let's not get the Hutts involved. Plus, you need to save the return of Jabba for the follow-up to Solo. Hashtag makes a little too happen, Michelle Rejwan. So yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we're getting Hutts in the Obi-Wan series, though I would delightfully welcome them.
You make some solid points there.
Yeah,
But how dare you?
I was like,
Go with Lacey on this one.
You say yes?
No, I
I
will
was going to,
Oh.
but I think your biggest point is the spectacle.
of make Solo 2 happen, and also just
How much it might actually be to create that puppet. So
John, I think you won me over. You gotta go.
Hey.
I went into that with
with a yes, Lacey, did you change your mind?
Never.
never.
I'll go down with this ship.
Uboshuda.
All right, we got a
On question here. This is coming from General Seth Kime.
Hey, Seth.
What's up, Seth?
Seth wants to know, will
We get any more backstory on Rey's parentage or
family tree, or was filthy junk traders it? That's all we're.
John, answer this question. What do you think?
I think JJ sort of answered that and said, we will. I think he is going to toe a fine line to not step on Rian Johnson's story and where he took the story, but also add stuff to it. In other words, yeah, what she saw in her vision was true in her mind, that those were her parents, they were nobody, but ... whatever happens a week from today. Seth, I think we will get definitely some more on that backstory. And even I think Daisy Ridley has alluded to the fans want it and they're curious. And so I think it's without a doubt, we're going to get more info on where the scavenger came from.
Lacey, are we going to know what the dealio is?
I think we will. Wait, what is the exact wording of the question? We will find out Rey has different parents, or
It's sort of two things. Will we get any more on the backstory of Rey's parentage or family tree, or was filthy junk traders it?
we will get more on Rey's backstory in The Rise of Skywalker. You know, in 2015, when she was doing press, I think she was at the MTV Movie Awards or something, they asked her backstage, like, I think it was Josh Horowitz actually that asked her, it was like, do you know who Rey's parents are? And she was like, yeah, I thought it was pretty obvious who her parents were in the movie. Like, I think it's pretty obvious. And then Last Jedi happens and it's like, they're nobody. Why would she be so sure that they were nobody from like day one if it was a surprise to basically everybody in the second movie? And then JJ comes in and is like, yeah, of course I would have had a different movie if I did the second one, but we're going with what Rian did. To me, underneath that is, I had a different idea for Rey. I'm going to explore that more. And they've also said they're going to do that. So yes, we'll find out more about Rey.
I'm going to say
Nice.
yes as well. And I think John brought up JJ addressing it, and Lacey, you brought up Daisy addressing it. But both of those people
Have said, yeah, we're going to touch on that in the movie. So
you're going to find out exactly how that all goes down. So, I mean, I think that has been well established that even if it ends up being that it was just filthy junk traders,
the backstory of Rey's parentage
will be addressed at least.
Agreed.
And we'll talk about that more in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Will Orson Krennic
appear in the Cassian Andor series? Lacey.
No, I don't think he will. I think they're going to keep him for Rogue One, and Cassian Andor is going to engage with some other type of villain or issues, because this takes place prior to Rogue One, obviously.
after.
Prior. Yeah, no, he's not going to be in it.
All right, John. Orson Krennic, will he be in the series?
100% yes.
I knew you were going to fight me on this.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Ben Mendelsohn does not shy away from streaming series. He did 2 seasons of Bloodline on Netflix. So he's down with that type of storytelling, that type of performance. It's not below him. So he won't say, "Don't you dare Disney Plus me," or whatever John Boyega said. "You're not going to Disney Plus me." And then also, I think with Tony Gilroy having to come in, because apparently Cassian Andor has been a disaster to rewrite and do stuff. I think he sees the value in that type of actor and that type of role. And Krennic was a big part of Rogue One. And I think maybe Tony Gilroy wants to go back to that well that worked and bring in that villain. Now, whether he's a big part or not, I don't know. But if you're giving me 6 hours of Cassian Andor, I think there's a good chance we may see some Orson Krennic.
All right. I say no.
I think that John, your point of Orson Krennic was a big part of that movie, but I don't think he was like the heart and soul of that movie, kind of a thing. I think that
I think what they're gonna accomplish. Well, my biggest reason, honestly, I'll just get straight
to it, is I think that Orson Krennic was related to something that they were unaware of at the time. They
became aware of the Death Star and the projects that Orson
Krennic specifically is working on at the beginning of that movie. So I think that anything that Cassian Andor is being sent on a mission has nothing to do with the Death Star. So I'm just going to go with no.
Well, that's unfortunate.
That's it.
All right. The next question comes from Major Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
Major Tiffany wanted to know, will we see someone with Sith eyes at some point in the Rise of Skywalker? And if yes,
who do you think it will be? John, we're starting with you.
I mean, I'm going to cheat here and say yes, of course. Because we're going to see Sheev Palpatine, who has perma Sith eyes. He always has the yellow eyes. So I think there's also maybe a chance that Kylo Ren has some Sith eyes too. But like I said, I'm cheating. I'm saying Palpatine's coming back, so we'll definitely see his yellow, disgusting OG Sith eyes in the Rise of Skywalker. And yeah, thanks, Tiffany. Hope it's not too cold up there in the Great White North, because it's already freezing here in Connecticut.
Lacey, are you going to be taking the cheating option?
Yeah, that was my answer. Yes,
Ooh.
We'll see him because of Palpatine.
All right, guys.
Not Kylo Ren?
That sad boy is not getting Sith eyes.
So should I say yes and say
Hall of Fame?
One week left to use it. Sorry, James.
No. I was like, should I say yes and just say it will be like a new crazy Sith? Like, oh, wow. I'll say yes. I will say yes. Dark Rey.
Does she have? I don't think she.
Not that we've seen, but we don't know if she does something, that could cause that to pop out. And then that would be.
Shot gets updated in posts, right?
Oh, that too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I understand the Palpatine thing. I think the real question was really based around Kylo Ren, but I'm going to say, since there is like an outstanding Sith that we've seen, or some sort of dark evil entity, I think it could potentially show up there. So let's go ahead and say yes for Dark Rey reasons. Okay. All right, last question for Will of the Force. This will serve as a little bit of a prep for our discussion based on what we talked about Monday, how Oscar Isaac spoke about the future and lack thereof for his character. Will Poe Dameron die in the Rise of Skywalker? We even talked off camera about this a little bit, Lacey. You think he's going to die?
I do. I do think Poe Dameron's going to die. God. I'm pretty sure I said this a year ago, that if anyone's going to die, because we had a question, I think, on Will of the Force that was like, what character do you think might die? Mm-hmm. And I said Poe.
Are you calling it?
No, I'm not calling it. I'm just saying, like, he's the only one in my brain that would make that sacrificial, I'm doing it for the Resistance. And that would be the perfect way for his character to kind of come full circle, because he starts very, I'm on a mission. Then Last Jedi, he's very selfish at times, very thinking about himself, thinking like he's kind of posing it as it's for the Resistance, but it's very about him.
Posing.
All right. And then this movie would make sense if he was more consumed with what's the good for everybody. So I could see him dying. And that would also explain why Oscar Isaac looks so sad in all the interviews if his character dies. So I'm sorry. I don't want him to die, to be clear, but I think he might. He's in a lot of marketing.
So he's not in Tally Lintra territory for you. You like Poe?
No.
Okay.
Yes. Tally is Tally.
Tally
John,
will
is
not
Poe
be in the Rise
Dameron-
of Skywalker.
Is Poe Dameron dying in The Rise of Skywalker? Poe Dameron?
You know what? I was going to say no because JJ's doing the whole satisfied thing. But hearing Chris Terrio say how much he loves Lawrence Kasdan and his type of storytelling. Lawrence Kasdan was a big proponent of Han Solo dying in Return of the Jedi, and George Lucas said no. So I think it's possible that Poe Dameron dies. If anyone of this group dies, obviously Kylo Ren's dying, but if any of the good guys die, it's going to be Poe Dameron. So, and plus his whole, like Lacey pointed out the video with his interview Monday saying nope to Disney Plus. It's almost like nope because there's no chance. So
right, that's how it could be. That's completely right. It could be taken that way. He could be saying nope as we're taking it like, oh, he's done with. Maybe it's literally like I can't.
Well, also
I die.
JJ almost killed
Poe series. That would be great.
JJ almost killed him in The Force Awakens, and maybe he's mad that JJ killed him in this one. So I think because he did Star Wars Resistance, he was cool with doing voice. He's all in. He loves Star Wars.
Yeah.
So maybe now because they cut him off and there's no more options, he's upset. So I'm going to say yes. I think Poe Dameron's going to die in The Rise of Skywalker.
He keeps
Y'all
talking about
nuts.
chapters closing too.
No.
Yeah.
This guy's not dying.
All right,
No
cool.
way.
Man.
I'm hearing you guys have convinced me on certain stuff, and I heard that whole thing and I go, nope. I think the Disney Plus comments are just like television versus film. And that's not Oscar Isaac's bag, baby. And I think that even if they did kill him off, there are opportunities. I think I've pitched it before. Like, actually, it wasn't exactly this. I pitched young Poe. They could find like a teenager and go through, early years of what he was like.
Wouldn't be him,
but no. I know. I said I pitched it, and then I was like, well, I guess it was more young Poe. But I still think that just like an early Adventures of Han Solo could be done with Poe Dameron. Just the same. But no, he's not dying, man. I'm telling you.
All right.
I hope not.
Yeah. It's those big three. I think they're all making it out. All right. Lacey, do you wanna do the Patreon pod race? What do you think? That's it for Will of the Force.
Yeah, so it's time for the Patreon pod race. So there are lots of ways you guys can support us by watching this episode, liking it, subscribing, following us on Twitter at RBATSWNN. And there's also Patreon, patreon.com/resistancebroadcast, where there are different types of tiers that get different benefits, and it helps support the show's travel, equipment, cool stuff, giveaways, etc. Just supports our time and efforts and content that we give to you guys. So as part of that benefit, our generals get to be a part of the show. So this week, we have General Neil Lowry, our General of Positivity. We hope you're feeling better, Neil.
Yes.
But he took some time, and we're so thankful he did, to answer this question. Do you want to see Rey, Finn, and Poe in future Star Wars movies? Or do you want their story to end with the conclusion of the Skywalker story? So take it away, Neil.
Hello, Richard's broadcast. Do I think Rey, Finn, and Poe should get more stories after the Rise of Skywalker? Hopefully, if the movie does sort of round off their story in a very satisfactory way, with a bit of a full stop on it, then obviously no, but I think we would like to see more stories with them in it. We have to see how it goes. It's open-ended, I think. As actors, probably they want to carry on with their careers in other things for the moment, so hopefully going back in a few years or something on Disney Plus, maybe in 5 or 6 years, probably, just think I'd be open-ended as that. That's it for General Neil. Over and out.
Awesome. Well done. First of all, love the sweatshirt. Solid. John, what do you think of Neil's answer?
It's a very Neil answer. It's very positive. I like how he acknowledges that these actors are not the characters. They have other aspirations. They are still young for the most part, and they may want to explore other things. But he did the whole, with that said, and, maybe a few years down the line, they can come back and tell new stories, but he hopes that this story still has a finality to it. So he touched on all the beats kind of, like I said, in a very Neil way. So Neil, like Lacey said, I do hope you are feeling better. I know you've been a bit under the weather, but thank you for taking the time. You are the general of positivity. You make us feel good all the time when you're always tagging us and telling people to follow us and listen to us, and I appreciate that very much. So I hope you have wonderful holidays. I'll obviously talk to you on Twitter, but my chance to tell you right now, hope you have wonderful holidays and bright new year, and to the future of Star Wars together, the TRB fam. Thanks, man.
Yeah, I agree with you, Neil, that I think they're going to leave it open-ended. We heard that from Chris Terrio, basically, when James was at the press conference the other day, that he was like, well, it's closing it, and it's giving you a satisfying ending, but we're leaving it open that maybe things could come from this in this story. I really hope that happens, because I'd love to see an episode 10. But I'm sorry, and now after the fact, that I said Poe is going to die, because I feel like you wouldn't like that answer. So I'm sorry. James, what did you think?
Man, I don't know. This was a topic of discussion with people at the conference. Will they or will they not move forward with episode 10? And what is that? I don't know. I see both sides to the argument. So, I don't know. I think if they did it, I would be like on board with it. But if they didn't, I would be like, that also makes perfect sense to me. So I'm really kind of like Neil in this. Like I'm go with the flow. Like whatever they want to do, I am 100% down.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Neil. And now we're going to head to John for our discussion and predictions.
Obi-Wan once thought as you do.
All right, guys. Final predictions for Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. In the famous words of Kevin McAllister, this is it. Don't get scared now. And, guys, this is
I really like that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I should have had my BB gun. We have arrived. This is it. 1 week from today, The Rise of Skywalker hits theaters, and hopefully all questions are answered. So let's do this one last time for this movie. Of course, we'll keep predicting Star Wars stuff in the future because more content is coming. Our final predictions on what's going to happen in The Rise of Skywalker to end the Skywalker story. So I kind of want to start this off going back to my return on my thoughts on Leia. I think Leia is going to be in this movie for a very short period of time. I think she is going to engage with Rey and the whole handing off of the lightsaber and, your training's complete sort of thing, because we learned from James's coverage at the global press conference on the placard there that Leia's going to be training Rey in the ways of the Force. So she took that year to harness her powers, become a good teacher, teach Rey, and this is maybe sort of the end to go on the final battle. And then I think Leia will pass, become a Force ghost, and that's their way to honor Carrie, to know that they're not going to be continuing the character of Leia without her. And I think that's fitting. I think that's the right move to make. So it makes all the sense in the world for this movie to end with like a Force ghost Leia with her brother, and that would, to me, would be very satisfying, I think. So I want to start there. If you guys want to pick up on that and then bring up other stuff, let's just have an open chat about it and give our last predictions, and then when we're all wrong, we come back and show this as a blooper reel of sorts. Yeah.
I completely agree with all of that. I think that she's not going to be in this movie very much, and she's going to be a Force ghost. I think when she dies, I'm going to cry so bad. It's going to be miserable. But then they're going to bring us back up with a happy ending. That being said, I really hope, and I think we will see her light a lightsaber.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. That's why I voted yes on the Rise of Skywalker thing. Her or Luke in a flashback, but
yeah, absolutely. And I think they're going to make her converse with Luke somehow.
There's a lot of people wondering if there's going to be a huge flashback thing with all of them, including Harrison.
Right.
And
they gotta.
James, you keep saying, would it be satisfying? To me, that would be. I don't know where you are on that.
I think it would be too.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not like a huge predictions person. Like it stresses me out because I feel like if I say it and then it was wrong, I'm like, well, my word doesn't mean anything anymore, or my insight. I know,
it's all
I know,
fun.
I know.
Good fun.
But I do think that there are just a specific handful of things that have come out of these movies that are like the big things that maybe they didn't do properly. And there is still a big opportunity for them to do that in the third one, because, they saw what happened in the first two. They saw how people reacted to it, and they have this opportunity to finish that thing. One of the biggest complaints that I think people say is that it was a missed opportunity and we never got to see the three on screen again. So I feel like this is their opportunity to fix that situation. The only part of me that scares me in that is I feel like Mark would be more vocal, and he's not. If they did retcon that, fix that, I feel like he would be promoting this movie a little bit more.
You know what, man? I feel like that's the one thing that he would keep buttoned up about, because he wants fans to experience that.
That's
fresh.
Fair. I hear that.
You talk about concerns. My concerns with that is how they pull it off. Mm-hmm. Is it going to be a thing where there's Harrison Ford, they de-aged him, he looks great. Same with Mark Hamill. Carrie looks like an animated character or something. Like, they have to be careful with how they do it.
Like Rogue One.
I don't like Leia in Rogue One. I think that was a mistake.
I didn't like it either. They should have let it fit from the back.
They didn't use the de-aging technology. They used a different actress and superimposed Carrie's likeness. That I think they need to fix that, honestly. But that's another story. Or just or like you said, just leave her from the back.
From the back,
right?
Yeah.
But that makes me nervous how they're going to pull that off. But I really want to see it. Whether it's them dropping Ben off at school or, at the academy or there's just them having some kind of final meeting together. I don't know. I would really love to see that happen. Not just how they pull it off, I guess.
Lacey, do you think they'll do that?
Yeah, I think they're going to. I think this movie is going to be obviously a big focus on Rey, Finn, Poe, and Kylo Ren, Ben Solo. But I also think there are going to be moments like with Lando and Carrie and C-3PO, but like bringing back the original trilogy people to give them their moment to shine. And like John said, and you said it too, I don't think they've had that moment with the big three yet. And I know, for being an original trilogy fan, I was disappointed when it didn't happen in the first movie, like when they were all separated, because then you were like, oh, well, in the next movie I'll get it. And you didn't get it, obviously. And then you're like, okay, well, you feel like you have this like not missed opportunity, but like a lack of closure with that series, because The Return of the Jedi, it left in such a good place that you're like, oh, they're happy and the galaxy is wonderful and everything's great. And then it's like, oh, psych, everything's terrible 30 years later. And you're like, wait, what? What happened? We were in such a good place. So you needed that moment, even if it's just one scene, to kind of give you the closure of everything's okay now. Even though it wasn't good for a little bit, it's okay again. And then it will allow me personally to focus on the characters that need to be focused on. Because all you're dwelling on is like, okay, but what about all the people that I grew up with and I love? Now they're all like split apart and it's terrible. Like it sucks.
Okay, so one thing, and I have a little bit of insight here because I was in that thing with Chris Terrio, and one of the questions he talked about was that like step forward to episode 10. And the way he described it is he said, these stories continue. They do. These characters don't die 5 minutes after the movie, right? They have lives. Their stories continue. And we really wanted to find the right place to end this story. And he said, and he gave an example. He said, you know, I could end a story about a time when I got in a car crash, but then I could end a story maybe after I gone to the hospital and met my wife at the hospital. You know what I mean?
Right.
Depending on where you end a story, it tells, you know, it just comes to a different conclusion, and it's kind of a different approach to a project. And so they worked really hard to figure out where to end these stories. And I think that kind of ties in with what Kathleen Kennedy says, you know, we've planned future projects with Rey and Poe and all that. We've got our next 10 years planned and all this other stuff. So, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there, but yeah, I don't know. I think that this movie is definitely going to end on a happy note. I think that we're going to see that. I don't think there's going to be anything that I don't know.
I agree.
I don't know what I'm saying. You know,
I agree. It has to end on a happy note. There's no part of me that thinks it's not going to end with the Resistance winning with the support of people across the galaxy coming together to finally defeat evil. It's just how these stories end, and they're clearly saying this is the conclusion of this saga. So this isn't going to be a situation where the bad guys win again. That's not how this is going to go down. So our surprises aren't going to be in the end game for like the fate of the galaxy. Our surprises are going to be like, where do our characters end up, sort of thing. Is it a complete closing of the book where they pack it neatly and Chewie goes home to Kashyyyk type of thing, or do he and Poe take over as the buddies and Poe takes over the Falcon and Lando like gives it one last goodbye, like it's been fun, and he goes off, like who knows what happens there. I also want to know what happens, like why are we seeing Han's medal, like
right,
what's going on with that medal? That's what I want to predict. Is she giving that to Chewie? Is that like why they show the medal? That's what I want to know. It's a small thing.
I bet it's a scene where they need something and she goes looking through the Falcon for something and she comes across it.
Who, Leia?
Yeah.
Man.
Because it's her hands that are touching it, it looks like.
It looks like it, yeah.
Like I could see that being... I could see that being a moment though, because one of the big fan things was Chewie never got a medal. So what better way to solve that than to say, here's Leia, she comes across this medal and she turns to Chewie and says, this is for you, or something. Like that would then give a moment to Leia and Chewie. Yeah. That would give a moment to all the fans that said, why didn't Chewie get his medal? He'll finally get his medal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought I heard someone say that they gave him one in like a comic later or whatever, but
right. Yeah, the Chewbacca comic, he reveals that he has a medal.
And he also got his medal at the
he gave it away
TV Awards. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I wasn't going to go down that route, but John brought it up. Yeah, I don't know. as far as that metal, I really think it's going to be one of those things where it's like heartfelt and then just they like interrupt it, you know?
Yeah, move on.
Yeah. And then like somebody walks in like, what's going on in here? And she's like, nothing. And she just kind of puts it away. You know, the music cuts. I think that's probably all they'll do with that. And to be honest, I know we were talking about the big three being on screen. That if they don't do it, that might be your Han connection. Then that's it.
Yeah, just like the dice in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
They put their hands over the dice, yeah. Go ahead, Lacey.
Oh, I was going to say the thing that keeps kind of like throwing me off about these movies, well, this movie, not these movies, this one movie, is C-3PO's role. Because I feel like from the first glimpse of this movie where he's wearing Chewie's bowcaster and, you know, has all the setup and Rey's staff, we were all thrown off. We were like, why would he have all these things? But then James, from what it sounded like at the press conference, it sounds like he has a bigger role. So what could that be? What could that role be in the bigger scheme of things? Because even in the trailer, he's like, I'm saying goodbye. Well, what are they doing? Are they reformatting him? Or what's going on? He gets red eyes. What does that mean? But I think he plays a bigger role than we all realize, I think.
I think Babu Frick and C-3PO, that whole scene right there, clearly shows that C-3PO is important to the plot, at least in one point of the movie. That specific scene. I also think that the way that they've kind of used him in the last two films, he's been over there and he's not like out in the thick of it. And in this movie, if he's only important really to the plot for the one scene, he still has the whole movie to be in the thick of it with them. And I think that's probably where the like importance factor is coming in. You're important in this film because you're there in the scene when everything's happening at all times.
Yes.
You're with the core group who are going on a journey together. You're just there with them. Yeah.
I agree with that.
Right.
I think it's not going to be a situation where he's like getting into warfare. I think him having Chewie's stuff is all part of this escape scene, because we see Chewie running without his bandolier. They're busting him out of prison or whatever. And C-3PO just happens to be the one who has to hold it all. And that's the comic relief of C-3PO, which makes you think of back in the day with Empire Strikes Back, Chewie and 3PO, him on his back and that sort of thing.
Right.
Or his eye popping out.
Yeah. Salacious Crumb like chewing his eye out. I agree with you, James, that it's more of he's just going to be involved more, and he's not going to be the, Leia's butler in the Resistance base again. It's more of he's involved. I think that's the extent of it, and I think that's great. The whole like they fly now, and there he is right in the skiff, just in the mix. It's very old school 3PO, and I like that. So I think that's the extent of 3PO. The one thing I'm curious about, like you say, him saying one last look with the red eyes, is does he tap into like information, which seems like more of an R2 thing, to help them find something? So is like,
right. So why him though? That's why I'm wondering.
That's what they'll tell us. But what do you think that is? Does he know how to get to whatever they need in the Death Star? Or because Rey's holding that knife, it looks like she's looking at it like the Goonies looked at that coin to find the treasure. She's like holding it up to like see how it fits with something. It's very Goonies like. Does he have information to help piece that together inside him? I don't know. Like, why do you think he's being reprogrammed, I guess? When you see the red eyes and he's working on the back of his head, what do you guys think's going on? What do you think's going on there?
I don't know. The immediate thing that comes to my mind is two options. One, he speaks so many languages, so maybe he has to basically download something that's in a specific language, and it could maybe erase other things. So they're worried because they're like, oh, take this in. It might change who he is. Two, another way they could work in some type of important plot line would be something happens where the information they need somehow gets put into him. So they have to get it out of him. And in that way, it might ruin something. Like, kind of like, oh, if we decide to download this information or get it out of his head, it might take away his personality or something.
That makes sense. Also, at the end of episode 3, they had his memory erased.
Right.
And he's like, what? Like,
yeah.
You know how sometimes, like, if you like work for a business, there's always like the IT guy, and if you screw something up and delete it, they can always somehow bring it back. You're saying
Babu Frick is the IT guy?
Yeah. Like, what if there's something that C-3PO knew fall of Anakin or whatever that was in his brain.
Reformat.
That they can go back and go access by doing something that you, like you said, maybe screws up his memories that happened after that. They reset. Yeah.
So they're risking his memories and stuff, but he's willing to do it because
to get old information or something. I don't know.
Which is why he'd be saying goodbye to his friends because he won't remember them.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. James, what do you think?
I mean, I feel like we've heard that before, that it's retrieving something from C-3PO's memory banks. If they did do that, I mean, number one, too, I'll throw it out there too. There's a Lego thing. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like a Lego memory thing?
No.
It was a short, and R2-D2 like pulls up to C-3PO, and then he like takes this thing and like sticks it in his back, and when he does that, his C-3PO's eyes go red, and he's like, "Oh yes, retrieving the data," or something like that.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's like on a Lego short. I don't know if it was like from years ago or if it's like something that's... And none of the Lego stuff is canon, but it's kind of one of those things where like... But, I mean, this is how they... Yeah, this is how they kind of think of it. So there is that thing. I think that if they did do that, that would be a really easy way to... you know how like when Mark Hamill, or I should say Luke Skywalker, said Darth Sidious, you know what I mean? And you're like, ooh, kind of pulls, he's got this prequel vibe to it.
Yeah.
I think that in that moment, if they needed to go back and retrieve something and he could be like, Little Annie, and say other things like that, then maybe some of that stuff starts to hit the nostalgia button.
Yeah.
So all of that makes sense, especially with a B-1 battle droid behind him.
Right.
I think all that stuff makes sense. Yeah, it's you know it's so hard because we're having this discussion and we've talked about all of this stuff. It's like they're only showing us 5 minutes over and over and over. Mm-hmm. So we're like, what's the deal with the Death Star thing? What's the deal with the...
Well, yeah.
What if we have the image of Zori with the little disc that's supposed to go on the back of his head talking to Poe, we're assuming, because his hair.
Yeah.
What if, because one of the things that stuck out to me when I saw the prequels for the first time, and then just any time I rewatch it, especially like Phantom Menace, is there's droids that look just like C-3PO that are walking around. And I remember when I was younger, I was like, oh, look, C-3POs. What if they find a disc from a previous droid and they plug it into him and he's being dramatic and saying, oh, I'm saying goodbye to my friends, but like they're just plugging in a floppy disk just for temporary reasons to get some information, and then they're going to switch it back.
So plugging in like the
disc,
like the brain of another droid into him.
They're pulling the personality or of whatever, and they put the other one in.
Of C-3PO and putting him in, and he turns into someone else.
Oh, yeah, that could be. I like that idea. That's interesting.
They're only using the body as a speaker, if you will, so that it could actually.
So then the voice is different, the personality's different, and it's an Imperial droid being like, "Where am I? Where am I?" And they're like, "Just give us the information."
That'd be funny if like R2's there and they take out C-3PO's brain, and he's like, "Can I have that?" All right, so moving.
I like
actually,
that, Lacey. I like
to lead them to where they need to go, and then they could just switch it back.
Yeah, they better switch it back.
I'm hearing a voice in my head like a, or something like that. Totally not C-3PO.
It doesn't
And it would
speak
just be-
English, yeah.
Well,
yeah,
what if
I was
it's the
kind of just
droid
making
that-
sounds, but I could hear it speaking English.
But what if it is that droid from the Phantom Menace? The one at the beginning that's like, oh, they'll be right with you.
I mean, yeah, who knows?
Because it's a silver disc that she has in her hand.
Yeah. Well, also I mean, there's plenty of those protocol droids. Like the one who told him off in Empire was silver too.
Right.
Ichuta.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So speaking of
How?
droids, R2. Obviously, we've been doing the whole "Where's R2" thing.
Still a thing.
Yeah, still a thing. We're still doing it. Do you guys think he's going to be along for the ride too, but just not doing too much, or do you think he's going to be hidden once again?
I think he's staying with the Resistance. I don't think he's going on adventures with them.
Yeah,
I think
Sucks.
I think
practically, like practical wise, it's because it's hard to maneuver R2 around. So they can't do as many action sequences like they can do with C-3PO, where they can throw him on a cart, or BB-8 that can roll along with everybody. Like R2-D2 is kind of slow.
Yeah, but
That's the practical reason. I think they're also going to they're going to throw him in an X-Wing, I think, in this movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think one of the toys had him in Poe's X-Wing.
I think that he's going to be
orange
the
one?
Resistance and then go into the X-Wing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if he
Who
goes
flies-
in Poe's X-Wing,
Who does BB-8 fly with?
BB-8's with John Boyega, Finn, and Jannah rolling
he's the-
alongside the Han
wow,
Hans.
that's right. Yeah.
yeah. So R2 back in the X-Wing. That's very satisfying, I guess.
It is. Because he'll be like, oh, I need BB-8, and BB-8
As long
can't
as-
go with him. So
As
he'll
long as
take
he's
R2.
not that one crashing into the Star Destroyer.
I know. Oh my goodness. I don't think so. I don't think
No.
they'd show Poe
No,
crashing
well,
into the.
You know what
we
we've
know-
been saying
we
on
know
this
R2
podcast. They're not killing
survives,
those characters.
right?
Yeah.
Because of a book.
The Wills. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we got the droids out of the way. Do you guys want to talk like Finn? And there's reportedly they're going to explore his backstory. Do we think there's a relation with Jannah now more so? Because she's new. He's not related to Lando, I don't think, but they're saying they're exploring his backstory. Did he find his people? Are those his people? Or is it more of the backstory of his time with the Stormtroopers? I think it's familial.
Do Stormtroopers get reconditioned so they don't realize where they're from?
Well, they
Yes.
take him at such a young age, I think.
They
that's
take
a
them
big
when they're
part of it.
super, super young?
Yeah.
They brainwash him.
Remember his little kid picture in the Force Awakens?
He was like, what, 4, 5, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like,
also-
even at 4, you remember things. Like when you were really little. He doesn't seem to remember anything. So
Yes.
how would he remember a Jannah? That's what I'm saying.
They actually do a thing where if you're acting weird, they'll send you for reconditioning, and it's like
That's what
a
Phasma
mind,
does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mind wiping thing to kind of like reset you. So they are kind of treating them like droids. Yeah, I have John is an interesting character. I don't know if she's going to be related to anybody. I also kind of considered, we talked on Monday about like the LGBTQ. I said she could be a candidate for that. She's really easy to come in and say, you know, this is my family or something. I don't know. That character is almost completely a mystery to me. I don't see how she's connected, other than the fact that it just looks like they're going to meet this character and she's going to be like, heck yeah, let's go fight.
Right.
And
Sure.
that's
Let's
the
do
only
this.
thing we
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
My only thing about that is they said they're going to explore his backstory too. Everyone's been focused on Rey's parents, but they're all going to explore Finn's too. And in the promo stuff, I know they're not showing us a lot, but he's either with the group or he's with Jannah on those Han-Hans.
It's true.
So those are his sequences in the movie for the most part. And he's on the Death Star and she's behind him.
And Oscar didn't do any training on horses. I think it was only him and Jannah, because he talked about that on Hot Ones, how it was him and Jannah,
right.
Naomi,
And
doing the horse training.
And when he's on the Death Star running, she's behind him. So she's with him a lot in this movie. And in that cockpit shot where we saw Finn, I think she was next to him.
Yep.
So if they're exploring his familiar background and we constantly see him with her, I think it's safe to assume it's possible that they may be long lost family. Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah, it's possible. I also think that it's possible. It's funny we're doing predictions, but it's more like we're just running through all the possibilities.
Like, what if you find out his name was something else, and he's like, I still want to be known as Finn, but
yeah, I was gonna say I think it is possible that that movie ends with him addressing his family in the sense of like, I don't need to know that because I have you, or because I have. I've found acceptance.
Yeah.
And that is exploring his backstory, because in Last Jedi, I don't think they really ever mention that. They kind of mention it in Force Awakens, and this could be another time when they're addressing the backstory is like, oh, I never really had parents or any sort of family, but now I do. And there you go. That was it. That's all I needed. That's addressing his backstory.
I think the one oh, go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. I was going to say, so that's all I have to say.
I think the one thing TLJ did a disservice was focusing so much on Rey and Kylo Ren, which I want to get to them in a minute, obviously, for the main event here. But it took away from developing Poe and Finn further. So much focus was on those two that I felt like the other two got left behind a bit. Poe was kind of pretty much in the Resistance ship most of the movie, if not the whole movie until the end. And Finn went to Canto Bight. That's not character development. So I think JJ's bringing that back, and he has only one film to do it. We went over Poe earlier, what we think his fate's going to be. So do you guys want to get into Rey and where we think she's at and this whole dark Rey thing? I mean, I just want to go out and say right now, I hope they skip right over this dark Rey thing quickly, because we know that's not the end game. So why spend a lot of time in this movie on it when you have so much else to do and cover? That we know that that's not the end game, then why spend so much time on it? So
I still think it's a vision. I stand by that.
I hope so.
I'm with you guys. My brain goes to all the possibilities, like I was saying a minute ago. I still see a possibility where it's not the end game. She doesn't end up as Dark Rey, but it could be central to the plot. It could be, this is what Palpatine is doing, this is an example of his plan or something, he could say, I know we've talked about the clone thing, but he could say, you're not a clone, but I plan on cloning you. Here's my first prototype. And she's like, no, this sucks. You shouldn't be doing that. And then she kills Dark Rey and then kills Palpatine. I don't know,
And chops his head off.
Yeah, exactly. But I still say that if there is a chance that the Dark Rey thing could be more important than just like, her finding herself, in a vision, which I think we explored that in, Last Jedi. So now that she went and found herself and she's really happy where she is and she's building herself up and she's trying to go up against Kylo Ren, where does this other entity, this other dark version of her fit in? I don't think she needs like motivation at this point. I mean, maybe from Leia would be fine, or from Luke maybe, but I don't think she needs to be scared into straightening up.
I think the vision is going to Kylo. I don't think it's going to her.
That's a good point too. I've always considered
I think she's pretty
vision.
set in her ways. The Last Jedi, Yoda said she has everything she needs. She's good. She's on the right path. I think he's the one that could ultimately see her being dark, because he hasn't had that vision with us yet. Rey has had that vision. She's had her cave experience.
Yeah.
Kylo hasn't with us. So I could see it being one of those things that could drive him to then team up with her. If he realizes that that could be a possibility, that could drive him to go to the other planet where Palpatine is. I think that could be the turning point for him. It might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very possible.
I just pictured the like Grease ending thing.
Oh.
where he like sees the mirror and there she is, and he's like, "Oh, like I want that. I want that Rey."
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What he wanted on the supremacy when he reached his hand out finally came true.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point, Lacey. Maybe it's a vision for Kylo Ren. The one thing that I find interesting.
I'm saying it is. I'm done with possibilities. It is.
Boom.
Okay. Cool.
Prediction.
Nice. Their whole the whole like Rey is unsure about her powers. They're still saying that. Like she's still not fully confident about her abilities, or not necessarily that she's not confident about her abilities, but what its purpose is or what it means is she's not comfortable with the powers. And then that line, like, people think they know me, nobody does. Like there's still a little doubts and that sort of thing there. So
what would you do if Dark Rey says that? What would you do if that line is Dark Rey's line?
Lose a
People
point.
think they
on
know
the
me,
challenge.
but they don't.
Yeah, I would lose a point in the challenge because I said that she doesn't have any lines. Yeah.
Because how crazy would that be if the trailer, the line that's over regular Rey is Dark Rey?
Could be. I don't want. I'm just so dark rayed out. Like it's how I felt about Porgs going into The Last Jedi.
Yeah. Which is weird because I don't even think I don't really think there's like a huge phenomenon over Dark Rey. I think people, it's just
they
a lot of showed it and people are like, all right, so I don't know what that's. Yeah.
So what about fights? I think that first fight that's happening in that white room is the whole let's bust Chewie out operation. They're running, they're escaping. I think Kylo Ren wins that fight, and that's Rey leaping and Finn grabbing her to put her on the ramp. I think he's besting her there, and she's getting the heck out of there. And that's that Kylo Ren win that we needed to get in this trilogy in a lightsaber duel. So I think he's going to best her.
Is it a win, though? He stands there.
I think he bests her, and she escapes. Kind of like when Maul escapes from Qui-Gon.
He seems to let her go, though.
She's clearly running away.
I know, but he seems to like let her go, though. Is that really besting her?
You think what makes you think he's letting her go? He's standing there and he gets blasted back by the Falcon.
Yeah,
he's standing there and not shooting at her when she's standing there.
He doesn't have a blaster. He's a lightsaber user.
Because he also thinks she's cornered. She ran to the edge and there's nothing there, and then the Falcon pops up. I don't know. It's very like Back to the Future.
Just screaming at her again.
It is Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's going to be that fight. Obviously, Pisana, Death Star, and Kijimi. I think they're going to fight like 4 times in this movie.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
The Kijimi one was a surprise to me. I was like, I did not expect that.
Do you guys think Palpatine's going to be in this movie for more than like 5 minutes?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he's going to lurk, and then we're not going to see him till the end. It's going to be this build-up, like, when is he going to show up? When is he going to show up? We're going to keep seeing this lightning and stuff, and these signs that he's there, but then we're not going to see him till towards the end.
I think it could be something... Go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, I think they could Snoke him, but with payoff. Like how they were kind of showing Snoke in Force Awakens, but then he just kind of disappears, and we never really got him in the movie. You're going to get that last 5-minute payoff of Emperor, but you might see him throughout the movie as well. I
think we're going to get a Harry Potter Voldemort scenario where you have your main character just having these moments where they sense someone evil, or they're getting visions of someone evil or hearing them. But like you said, John, at the end is where you'll get the big fight scene. But I think he's going to be throughout the movie. He has to be.
Like,
they have to explain maybe from behind, not like face-wise.
Yeah, because I feel like they're hiding him on purpose. They know we know what he looks like, but they're keeping that suspense by not showing him. And I think that's...
But you could show him in other ways, though. You could show his hand. You could show...
No, sure, yeah.
Hood.
I'm saying like him there talking Palpatine in full, no BS, here he is type of situation.
Right. Yeah, at the end, probably.
And then it makes me wonder, like, is that it for Kylo Ren? Is he, like, because like I said, the door's open for him to turn and want to help defeating Palpatine or whatever. Is the face-off with Palpatine the end of evil Kylo Ren? Or is it another situation where Palpatine goes away and he's still dark side? Like, I don't know.
So the crazy thing is that the footage that we've seen so far, we see him obviously with Rey on the Death Star. We see him in like his back on Kijimi, and we see him, what appears to be him, we believe is him, flying the TIE fighter. And then we see him walking in the desert, and then we see him again with his red lightsaber pointing at someone and then dragging on the ground going into what looks like a temple or some type of cave or something. So I think he's definitely going to be redeemed. There's no question. It's happening. Bendemption is coming. I think he's going to team up with Rey and take down Palpatine in honor of his family's legacy, because Rey will ultimately kill Palpatine, but you have to have the Skywalker person there to also get the revenge of the family lineage.
Is Palpatine going to kill Kylo Ren?
I don't think Kylo's dying. I think we might think he's going to die, and then at the end he shows up again. Like, we all assume he's dead.
What?
Like, I'm going to use this example even though I've never seen the movie. Like Batman, the third one, where he's dead, but he's not really dead.
You mean Kylo Ren's going to show up in an Italian coffee shop?
No, I knew you were going to take it the wrong way. No, that's not what I was saying.
This conversation's been too serious. Kylo Ren just turns around like, oh, hello.
Because I keep thinking about what the words, besides satisfying, magical, they've been sad, hopeful, heartbreaking, but happy. Heartbreaking to me is Leia passing away, killing Palpatine. But then I don't think they're going to kill Han and Leia's son. I just don't think that the message is there of like, yeah, he's got to die.
Anakin died.
Yeah, but he was Vader. It's different. It's a different story. You can't compare the stories. They're different stories. But different you're saying, choices, different stories. I know, but you're saying people.
Star Wars is hope, and the whole story about Anakin Skywalker was how he fell and he rose back, and he still died at the end. So it's still possible.
But if Kylo dies again, if Kylo dies, I meant like in the way that Darth Vader died, sacrificing themselves for the hero. It is legit the same story.
I agree. That's why
I don't think he's going to die. Because then you'd be like, okay, so he pulled a Vader.
All right, so your final prediction is he lives and then what?
He lives and then shows up again.
And what though?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that far in my prediction.
What's the end of the story for him?
I think the end of the story is that everybody is in a happy place. And the galaxy's all ready to rebuild and evil is gone. And then Rey goes off on her own to either start an academy or go back to Octo. Like, she's got to be alone for some reason, like off on her own or off to go get something, and he shows up.
The only thing I think there's the possibility that
everybody thinks he's dead, but he's not.
So she feels bad for him in the situation. She says, "Go."
You know what I mean? I'll tell them you
were killed, or I'll tell them this happened. Like whatever the events was.
She would say like, "I'll tell them you fell in the grinder too," or whatever.
I don't know what the scenario is. But it would be very easy probably if
it was just the three of them in a room for her to come back and say,
yes, Kylo Ren is gone.
Yeah, he died. Yeah.
He's gone. And then that's it. And
everybody's like, oh, well, that sucks. We never get to torture him. And
and then maybe we leave it at that. I feel like that is
open-ended. Which is kind of what they want, but I think like in a bad way.
I think that makes people go, What?
What? I want to know what happened.
I agree.
Gets to go away?
He just gets a free ride?
So do you think he should die then? I guess that's my question for you. What do you think his story should be?
I'm going to be honest. I think that the story should be that he's
evil and there is no redemption. I'm totally of that mindset. I want to see good and
evil and good win. But I do understand it's Star Wars, good and
evil and balance and hope and all that other stuff
is important as well. So that's why I am on
the ride.
Yeah.
Tricky situation.
I think that when they're saying it's not
Daisy Ridley says it's not going to be a controversial ending.
Or at least she said it's not going to be as controversial as Game of Thrones. So
I don't know. I guess that means she thinks she's pretty confident
that people are going to like what they see.
She said that about Last Jedi though, so like people are going to say that they love the movie and they're going to like, "Oh, it's going to make you feel good or it's going to make you think." And then you go and then everyone has their own.
Yeah, but she didn't say that Last Jedi was not going to be controversial.
Yeah, it's true.
Here's my problem with the end, because you have Chris Terrio saying they ended it where more stories could be told. If they do eventually come back with Rey and tell more stories, and Ben Solo, Kylo Ren, whatever you want to say, lives, you'd have to involve him somehow. And I think Adam Driver is done with Star Wars. So I think the character needs to die for so many reasons, from a real life actor production aspect, if you're going to continue these stories, and let alone the story itself. I don't think Adam Driver is interested in coming back to Star Wars. You can see the look on his face doing this press tour, the minimal amounts he's doing. I think he's moving on. He's having a major successful career without it. He did his time and he's moving on. If you leave him open and make him live, he is such a big character that you can't just be like, and then he went off and ran a deli and we're going to move on with Rey and everyone else and continue these stories. You need to end his character here because he's such a great character, knowing that Adam Driver is probably not coming back to revisit it. So that's where I'm at.
So the funny thing is that Adam knew from the moment they offered him this part what the story was, where he was going to end up. That's the crazy part. So you have to assume whatever the ending ends up being, Adam knew from day one where it was going to end.
Yeah.
So he accepted the part knowing I'm either going to live or die.
So, yeah, I mean, we last thoughts on this part. Yeah. And then we could give our.
One other thing is, like, I think that Lacey
would be 100% down with what you're saying, and I'm like, yeah, I think that's a total possibility if the character's name was
Ben Smith and not, I mean, I know it's Ben Solo,
right?
But he's a Skywalker, and I would totally be okay with this guy getting the free ride and he goes away and he disappears
like Ezra. That's a great way to end the story. We don't have to tell you where he
went. He went away. He's gone. And that's it. That's the end of the story.
To the unknown regions.
Disappeared into hyperspace. Yeah. So, I mean, that could very well happen to this character. And as far as anybody's concerned, for many
years and this battle, it's over. It's done. The person,
the antagonist is away. The only problem is that when eventually Ezra comes back, eventually when they want to bring this character back and explain where he went, it's part of the Skywalker saga again.
Yeah.
And that's tricky to me. So
Ezra aside, this is supposed to be the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, and if you're going to have someone live and then potentially want to tell more stories, you're going to have to involve a Skywalker again, and then it gets muddy. So, we'll see what happens. Last thoughts, what about Force Ghosts or even just Luke Skywalker? Do you think a very small cameo? We got to talk about Luke before we wrap up the discussion, of course. So,
yes, Force Ghost to come in with wisdom here and there.
One scene?
2.
Okay, what do you got?
You're asking for my scenes?
Yep.
Towards the beginning of the movie, some type of training with Leia, Andor. No, I go to 3 scenes. Beginning of the movie, some type of training. 2, second scene, some type of callback with Harrison and Leia in the same scene, so we get to our 3 together.
Mm-hmm.
3, towards the end of the movie, when they come to either give words of encouragement with a Force Ghost group to Rey, or some type of lasting impression of like, it is done type thing. So
All right.
3.
Nice. James?
Man, all of my predictions contradict each other. I'm gonna go with 2. I think he shows up to somebody to give the advice to say, this is, we know a little bit of what he says, like, this is your fight now. So I'm assuming that's Rey. 1,000 generations live in you now. Doesn't make sense for that to be Kylo Ren. And then, I think they show him again near the end of the movie. I think he's on screen one more time.
I'm close with both you guys. I think 3 as well, Lacey. 1, I think we will get a flashback with the big 3. 2, there'll be a big moment with Rey, like you just said there, James. And the third one, I think we're going to get that final Force Ghost, Rey looking out to the horizon and sees Luke, Leia, Yoda, Kenobi, like maybe even Anakin, that sort of thing. A little. I know you smile, but I think they're going to do that in a very cutesy sort of way. Yeah, like, who's that over there?
You said look off into the horizon and sees them. She's like, I think that's them.
I think that's them. It's very squinty, but so that's that. Anything else?
Nope.
I think Wedge is coming back too. How about that?
We're almost there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That'll do it for the discussion of predictions. Let us know in the comments what your final predictions are and whether it's something we talked about or not, and your thoughts on our predictions. And hit us up on Twitter at RBATSWNN, also with your thoughts as well. And you did that in this next segment that we like to call Resistance Transmissions. Lacey is going to read your tweets, the best of your tweets right now, in our final Resistance Transmissions before the Rise of Skywalker has been in our brains.
Oh my goodness. I just got super nervous.
Lacey, take it away. Yeah.
It is time for Resistance Transmissions. And as I said that, I realized I always say it is time, but that's okay. It's my thing. So how this works is every week, John puts up a crazy, wacky situation, and you guys give your answers. And so we pick the best, bless you, the most creative ones.
James is allergic to funny tweets.
He's allergic to my terrible reading, I guess. Words. Me.
Yeah.
Maybe he's allergic to me.
I did mute the correct mic. So nobody heard me sneeze. Except for you guys.
You can just cut this out.
It's very random for audio listeners.
All right. So the situation is, imagine J.J. Abrams went to DM Pablo Hidalgo, R.I.P. Pablo Hidalgo's Twitter account, for canon clarifications and found out he was blocked by Pablo like the rest of us. Well, that just proves that I don't read this until right now. Let's assume JJ made a backup account so he could DM Pablo. What is his backup Twitter handle? All right. First up is Joey Sack at Joey Sack. Hi, Joey. He says, at hey, Bob. Next is Dekine Awakens at Dekine Awakens. And he said, at is Han Canon. Next is Brandalorian at Phantasmic Ears. He said, at Rad Bobot.
I like that.
Nice.
Next is Rez at Real Rez Ludub. Said, at Oceanic Flight 815.
Oh.
I had to Google what that meant. I assumed it meant
it's
lost.
lost.
Yeah.
Todd DeGrossier at Todd Knows Best said, at incredibly satisfying. They said satisfying so much
It's
in
insane.
the past week.
Yeah.
It's like a joke at this point. I feel like they're doing it on purpose.
The movie should be called The Rise of Satisfying.
It really should be.
They're like, what's a word I could use
hashtag The Rise of Satisfying. Darth Glucosa at Darth Glucosa said at the Passion Projector.
Projector, I think. But yeah.
Projector.
Yeah.
What?
Well,
How'd I say it?
Well, I think because I do the JJ, it's the Passion Project thing.
Yeah, the Passion Projector.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what it says. Is that wrong?
I read it as Projector, but I know that's
Projector.
wrong. But yeah.
Like
Oh, I don't get
prospector.
Right.
Oh.
Like he prospects. He's a prospector.
Oh.
He's a
Justin
projector.
Reed at Justin011691 said at definitely not JJ Abrams.
That's one way to do it.
Next is Danny. Hi, Danny at Chibigon89. And she said at Pablo, this is JJ.
Nice.
Next is Bruno Du Amaral at Bruno Du Amaral wrote at I_love in caps _random _transformer _drawings.
That's how to get to a man's heart.
Yeah, you'd follow.
Last
I
one.
read ahead. Yeah.
Andrew Staley at D_Staley said at James Beatty.
It's taken, JJ. You can't get
That's
it.
incredible. Maybe that's
Oh
JJ.
my god, that's Hall of Fame, guys.
Could be.
Come on, at James Beatty.
I'll put Andrew in the Hall of Fame.
That is Hall of Fame at James
Wow.
B. Guys, thank you so much for your answers. If you want to be on the show, make sure to follow us on Twitter at RBATSWNN. Every week, John puts up some crazy picture, scenario, story, fill in the blank, and you guys give your answers, and then we read them on the show. And as you know from my description of what the scenario was, I clearly don't read these until
Never, ever.
the night of. Ever. Forever. Anyway,
Nice.
back to you, John.
All right, guys. I want to thank you for sticking with me here. I'm sick as a dog. Been recording for 17 hours straight. We made it through this episode. No, but I want to thank you so much for listening and watching, being a part of the Resistance. Make sure you keep spreading the word and subscribing on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Remember, we have the Mando fan shows that are happening on Friday, so tomorrow we'll have a new one for you guys. Hope you're digging that. And also, if you're not sick of us, you can, as Lacey mentioned before, join us at patreon.com/resistance broadcast. We have tiers starting at $2 a month, all the way up to the generals. And I want to thank all of them right now. And Carmelo, Brian Shalito, Andrew Staley, Neil Lowry, Jeremy Myers, Neil Shaw, David Probus, John Reese, JG, Carr, Seth Kime, Micah Harrison, and Val Trichkoff. Thank you, generals, on our Patreon page so much. Great job, Neil, on your pod race. And way to make the Hall of Fame, Andrew Staley, the 4th Hall of Famer
At James
Beatty in Resistance Transmissions history.
So good.
Guys, go to StarWarsNewsNet.com every day for your latest Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. You guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. And go get a Make Solo 2 Happen t-shirt at tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcast. Accept no imitations anywhere. That's the place. The only official one that counts. The only way Solo 2 would ever happen. I don't know. James, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Meyer Trunks.
One day.
Aw, JJ got it.
One day JJ will give that up. Lacey, how about you?
People can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lacey Gillerin.
Okay, guys, listen. We hope you enjoy your final weekend before the Rise of
my
Skywalker.
God.
Because it's going to be a bloodbath. I don't know.
What?
No, I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be a good time. We hope you guys enjoy your weekends. We'll be back on Monday morning with a new episode and probably some more announcements for you. So stay tuned, and we'll see you Monday right here on the Resistance broadcast. See you around, kids.
Bye. I can almost taste the pie now.